Hey friends, and welcome to Mom Talk Maryland. I'm your host, Claire Duarte, founder of the Columbia Mom, and this is your spot for real conversations, local love, and a whole lot of community. Whether you're folding laundry, running errands, or hiding in your car for some peace and quiet, let's dive in. Andrew, you ready to get started?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, I'm so excited to have you on and frankly learn a little bit more about you and your business. And after kind of reviewing your site and seeing some of your pieces, I was like, wow, this is actually a really unique model. And one thing about me that I nerd out on a lot is obviously I love getting to know businesses' origin stories and kind of how your background, filtered into all of that. But just I feel like when I have an understanding of the owner and I've gotten to know like your why and, kind of your passions, like not only does it speak to some of the content that we get to create down the road, but I don't know. For some reason, origin stories kind of light me up and they kind of excite me. And that's just where I like to get a little bit nerdy. And that's why I'm excited to have you on so we can talk more about it. So let me hand it off to you, Andrew Simpson. Tell me more about yourself.
Yeah, well, I am married. I'll take you like present and then I'll go back to the origin story. I'm married to a great Italian woman named Daniela, and we've got 3 kiddos, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And every time I say that, the response is completely predictable. You're in the thick of it. Wow, you're in the thick of it. I'm like, yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. You said I didn't have to tell you. I didn't have to.
Yep.
Yeah. As soon as you said 1-year-old, I was like the 6 and 3. But as soon as you said 1, I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. They're all 3 are so different, but it's a lot of fun and it's crazy at the same time. So that's like the most important thing. And then the business and the mission that we're on is obviously really, really important as well. Started back in 2011. I was still in college and I just fell in love with fitness and the human body and training, and then realized that I could do that for athletes. And I got even more excited because I've played sports my entire life, and the idea that I could get paid to stay around sports and train athletes to get bigger, faster, stronger, it was like a win-win-win. And so opened up my own business in 2014. Did not really expect much. I opened it up because there was no other options. The places that I was renting space from kept going out of business. And so it was like a really weird thing where it was like the only option I honestly have is to either go on a new path or open up my own thing. So 2014, opened up a 1,800 square foot warehouse, hired 3-4 people, told them that this thing was going to be amazing. And but on the inside, I was like, it's a 12-month lease. And if it doesn't work out, I can go do something else. They didn't know that. But anyway, so we had, 10, 12 clients that started with us in this small warehouse space, training athletes, training some adults, fitness and performance training. And in a year, it grew to 100 clients in our first year. And it became apparent that, number one, we had this really unique team member. Her name is Tanya, who delivered a miraculous customer service experience for people as they were coming in the doors.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, I just thought she was just going to check people in and do some like admin type stuff.
Right.
But she just delivered this amazing greeting and built relationships and connected with people. Imagine that people want to connect and
next, right? Like we're doing here. Yes.
Man, and she just did such a great job with that. I firmly believe that was a big part of the reason why we grew to 100 people, because people went out and told people that this is an amazing place. And then the other unique part of our business in those early days was we recognized that fitness and performance and speed and agility, it can make an athlete physically more talented. But if we do not tap into between the ears, if we don't help them with their thinking, then it doesn't matter. We had a mom, I'll never forget it, call me up in those early days, and she was just frantic on the other end of the line. And she was like, my daughter, it's Megan. It happened again. She made one mistake in her volleyball game last night and she got in her head, and then her body language was awful. Coach pulled her out. And this happens all the time, Andrew. Can you help her? And I was like, man, like I felt honestly like a failure as a coach, because here we were claiming.
You even started.
Yeah, because here we were claiming to help athletes reach their full potential. Yet this strong, fast, athletic young lady who played volleyball, she wasn't able to play to her best because she didn't have her mindset right. And so that's where the whole genesis of mindset coaching in our business model, which we can talk about as we go, that came into play. And so, yeah, that was 10, 11 years ago. And now we've got 4 facilities in the state of Maryland. And we've got a lot of other stuff going on, just all centered towards trying to help young athletes reach their full potential in sports and life.
Oh my gosh, that's huge. And I love hearing that story. And wait, real quick, where did you go to school in Maryland?
Yeah, I went to Frederick County Public School called Brunswick.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice. I was like, all right, we got our good Maryland roots here.
That's
So we
right.
like to hear that. And was the Frederick location the first one?
Yep.
And what are your obviously we have the Columbia location, which we're obviously talking about the business as a whole, but what are your, so we've got Frederick, we got Columbia,
Eldersburg in Carroll County, and then Westminster, also in Carroll County. Yep. Okay,
so you got Frederick, Howard, and 2 in Carroll.
Yep.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So sorry, going back, what year was it that the facility opened again?
So we opened in 2014.
2014, and you said it was in that year that you grew to 100.
Yep. So the end of 2015, we tripled the size of our facility, so we expanded to a much bigger facility. Sure. And then over COVID, we did that again. So we tripled to 7. We're now in Frederick in this 17,000 square foot facility in Frederick, and so that's where I'm actually recording this from.
Nice.
Yeah.
Real quick, just because again, I'm the queen of tangents, but this talk is not about COVID, but how did a gym like yours able to not only sustain and survive COVID, but it sounds like you still grew. Yeah.
I mean, the initial hit of COVID was, it affected us to some extent, but we had such a loyal following, such a loyal community that, a lot of my friends in the industry, like their business, they went out of business for sure. Right. And we were like, oh my gosh, like we knew we were coming up to the end of our lease right around COVID 2021. And so we knew we were going to either have to make a move because we were growing so much and take a leap of faith and expand, or, we could have stayed put, but that wouldn't have worked out very well. And so I went to my team and I was like, guys, look, like we could either make a big leap and kind of place our bets on this community and what we're building here, or we can stay put, we can downside. There's a lot of things we could do. What do we want to do? And the entire team was like, we need to go for it. Like we're on an important mission to change people's lives, and the community clearly is responding. And so we did it. We signed a lease over COVID, tripled the size of our facility, and a lot of people said, don't do it. They were like, y'all are nuts.
Right. So were you, granted, again, we're not staying here in this COVID talk. I just, again, I love getting to know, because that just affects like your growth, and that speaks to so much of the mission and the power of what you guys are doing. So were you guys doing in-person training, or did you incorporate virtual models? Like, how did you sustain?
Yeah, we did virtual for maybe 3 months when we had to. We couldn't do in-person stuff, and then as soon as we could get back in person, we trained people outside for like, I don't know, a month or so. Brought equipment outside because that was a thing for gyms. Outside, and that was it. We just went with the flow, and we like our big thing is like you get a beginning and an end to your experience, right? Like we've got a director of first impressions that greets you by first name, that knows your story, that connects with you beforehand. And, so over virtual sessions, as people were coming into their workout, virtually, we would have people there greeting them, making it fun, making it exciting. So, our tagline is more than just a gym.
Yeah.
So it had to be more than just a virtual workout. So, yeah.
True. Okay. So now that we've got the origin story, and thank you for painting that picture for me. So exactly, because I saw your tagline. So tell me more about the gym per se. I kind of know what makes you different, but, is this a place where people are just signing up for a membership? Or is it more based on one-on-one and small group training? Is this more geared towards, when you said athletes, like young athletes, like our high schoolers and college students? Tell me more about that whole picture.
Yep. So there's multiple prongs to that answer, because our flagship facility here in Frederick, it is so big, and we've had it for so long that we pretty much offer everything under the sun here. We've got physical therapy, we've got group training, we've got 8 to 11-year-old training, we've got it all. at our Columbia location and the future ones, they're smaller. And the primary thing that we are great at is the small group training. So up to 6 clients, 1 trainer, each person gets individualized attention because it is a small group, but you don't pay one-on-one pricing, you pay group pricing. So it drives the cost down. And then, it's just more personalized, intimate, you really, like, everyone knows each other. It creates that community element. So those smaller facilities are pretty special. It honestly reminds us of the big facility when we were younger, right? When we were smaller. So, so small group personal training for athletes, and then small group personal training for adults as well.
Great. And so it's all small group style essentially.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess I'm sure I could obviously go to your website, but I'm just gonna have you tell it to me since we're here. Or just speaking to the Columbia location, what are your class time availabilities for the young adults and young children or teens and adults?
Yeah, so the adults are mornings. So in the smaller facilities, it's mornings for adults, and then the evenings are all athletes. And those run from 3 p.m. all the way till 8 p.m.
No doubt. Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. In the mornings, how early do you guys start?
Great question. I think I have a business partner that runs all day-to-day operations, and so I'm more of like the relationship.
So you're sitting up here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like calling him up. Hey, what time did you?
Yeah, what time do we open?
That's right.
I think like 5:30 a.m. is our first session. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they're like hour long. Is that right?
Hour. Yep.
Classes. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So one of my questions. So many of us as moms sign up for our kids for sports, hoping they'll stay active, make friends, have fun. Why is mindset training such an important piece of the puzzle for moms to be thinking about beyond just the physical side of sports? Because, I was raised in the 90s, but I'm a good old millennial mom. But that being said, obviously I see sports as a fun social component way to stay active. But how can we as moms kind of be looking out for that with our kids?
Yeah. So when you think about what are my kids' most pressing challenges or problems that they're facing, almost none of them are physical, right? Like on the surface, they're not fast enough, they're not strong enough, they don't jump high enough. And those are real things that we solve those problems. But for most parents, when we ask them that question, they say things like the pressure really gets to them. They get so nervous before competition, or if they're not perfect, or if they make a mistake, they beat themselves up and they get in their head and they get so down on themselves, or they struggle with consistency, or all these things that are either behavioral or mindset related challenges.
Yeah.
Problem is, and I write about it in my first book, The Youth Truth.
Yes.
The problem is we oftentimes try to solve physical or mindset related issues with physical solutions, right? Like, let me just get them a better trainer.
That's what we're good at. What do we say? We
our
trauma into running,
Yeah, it's a quicker fix, right? But that's where we really, as a team, back in 2016, when I told you that parent called me up frantic about her daughter, and I felt like I really was a failure as a coach. Like, I realized, wow, why don't we learn about sports psychology and mindset? And it's more than just sports psychology, because it's not just sports, but we have kids that come in, and the first day that they sit down with their coach, they fill out a questionnaire, and they fill out things like it's self-selecting answers. And so it's like, I struggle with body image, I don't like the way I look. I struggle with perfectionism, I beat myself up if I don't do perfect. Just different, mindset related challenges that they're facing. And man, these kids, they're honest too. They fill it out so honestly, because the coach leaves the room, and so they don't feel like the coach is breathing down. I was
just going to ask about that. Right.
It's unbelievable, Claire. It's so cool to see these kids open up about what they're struggling with. I'm stressed. I feel like I can't live up to the expectations, or I'm anxious all the time. They fill out this questionnaire, and it gives us an idea of where they're at. And then it's it opens the door. It allows us to be able to speak into their life and their challenges, because our coaches, it's not just about training. This is mentorship. One in 5 kids nowadays has a mentor, which means 4 out of 5 kids don't. They don't have that person in their life that truly is trying to understand them and inspire them and coach them. And so it's we take that responsibility pretty seriously. And we say it all the time, like we stand in the gap, right? There's a gap and kids need that. They need that person, that trusted advisor in their life. So yeah, I don't know how we got on that tangent, but it
No,
fired
this is
up.
all related, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we keep talking about the classes, because you kind of really mentioned it from the core part of your team. So I'm also curious, when you're either hiring or training your team, what are their credentials outside of, I guess, just their physical personal trainer certificate? Like, are there certain in-house training models that you've implemented to make sure that that's also hitting on this mindset piece that you're talking about?
Yeah. From a hiring standpoint, the number one most important thing that has to be in place, and then the rest is usually trainable. We do look for certain characteristics, someone who's hungry, humble, go-getter, all those things. Like we look for those things, but like the number one thing is when they hear about our mission and they hear about a kid who came in and struggled with body image, and then through the coaching and training they got here, they built confidence and they built courage, and they no longer struggle with those things. Like when a potential team member hears about the stories of the kids that are in our doors, if it fires them up and makes them excited to serve and make a difference, we can train you in the rest. Like it's really, like, you got to have a heart to serve.
Yes.
And a heart for kids, because not everyone's called to the same mission. You know, like what breaks my heart doesn't necessarily break your heart. You know, you might not like it when you hear about kids getting screamed at by their coach, and no one would, but for some of us, like that breaks our heart, and that's our calling. Whereas we all have a different calling in life, right?
Yeah, I love that. Well, I love how that aligns, and then it sounds like what again makes, you know, your business so unique is also that additional layer, not just like letting any personal trainer walk in the door.
Right.
You're then going ahead and training them on these aspects too, because I guess, yeah. So let me end there before I ask my next question.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important point. Like you do, prior to us hiring you, like you do have to have some sort of passion for athletic development or fitness, because you're not just coming in here to sit down and talk to kids. Like the parents are coming and paying for them to get faster, get stronger. And then once they're in here, they realize like, wow, like my kid is getting so much more than just that. And I realized that that's not actually the whole point. The point is the inside out development. So yeah, the team members that come on board, they have to definitely like want to learn anatomy and physiology and the mechanics of speed training. Like they have to have some desire to know those things. Yeah, you're not just sitting down and talking to people all day.
Right. Well, I think of it too, like as a mom and any other moms that are listening and digesting this too, like if they're going to sit here and pay for their kid to be training or themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would want to know that, that these individuals, either their credentials or the training that they do in-house is also what makes their expertise so much different than if they were going to go to a small group training over here, blah, blah, blah.
100%. Yeah. Our mission that we take very seriously and that it informs all of our decisions as a business is to provide a love-powered coaching experience that helps people create results, relationships, and generational transformation. So results are an important part of that. Like we are paid to get people results with their fitness or with their sports performance. And so that's like a must. Like if you can't do it, that's a must.
So now talk me through what a session or a class looks like. And I mean, it's funny that you say this, and I hope this model, I mean, I want this model to be obviously so uniquely yours, what it is, but I myself also do some small group style training, and I have fallen in love with it for kind of that personalized approach that you're kind of speaking to. But I was kind of curious, like, you know, what a class sort of looks like, whether it's for, again, the athletes or the adults. And if, like, you know, I don't know, do parents sign up their kid for, like, do you monthly, or do you kind of do like a 3, 6, 12? And then are there certain training regimens, or is it kind of like a rinse and repeat monthly? I'm just kind of curious that aspect of it.
Yeah. So a couple different things there. The first, honestly, is last night I just put a Facebook post up because Facebook's better for like asking a question and then getting engagement. So I said, as a kid, did you have more free time, less free time, or about the same amount of free time that your kids have nowadays? And dozens and dozens of comments. People are like, I had way more free time as a kid than my kid does nowadays. And so it's like it's funny you asked that question, because like it's the thing that we battle with the most. Our only competitor is youth sports, like the amount of sports that consume the kids. So people sign up for, I mean, the reason why I say that is because, to answer your question, like our payments are weekly. Like you pay weekly, and if you need to stop for a week because life gets too busy, you pause for a week, then restart the next week. And that's just how we've done it for a long time. And we've considered like contracts and we're exploring what that looks like, but we'll always have like that flexible option.
Yeah. Nice.
And the average kid, it depends on if they're in season or not, but the average kid throughout the year trains twice a week, and they'll train 9 months out of the year, right? Usually most kids have like one sports season that is like insanely busy to where they're not even going to be able to get in once a week, but usually it's twice a week. They'll drop down to one, maybe go up to 3 over summer. Adults are a lot more flexible. It's crazy. Like the average adult trains 3 days a week at PFB. If you look at like our numbers and whatnot, the average adult trains 3 days a week. The average kid trains 1 day or 2 days a week. So that's how that works. And then the session, the way it looks, it's really cool. Like we've kind of perfected this model over the years. For the athletes and adults, it's similar, but for the athletes, they come into their session, they sit down with the coach as soon as the session starts, and we huddle them up and we deliver what's called a motivational message, which is a quick 3 to 5 minute message that addresses one of the 12 most important topics that every kid needs to improve in, or every parent wants their kid to improve in: communication and leadership, mindset and how to get out of your head, how to manage your emotions and frustrations better, so on and so forth. There's a ton of different messages that we deliver. Some are stories, some are analogies, some are writing exercises. And so the first it's about 5 to 7 minutes actually of the session is that. And there's some good engagement and good interaction. And then the kids get up, they do a warm up together. They do speed and agility as a group, because we've found that in groups, they push themselves a little more. There's some competition. There's some fun, you know.
No one wants to do that solo.
Yep. And then after that, the next 40, 45 minutes, they grab their own program and they start to work through those exercises that were created for them. And the coach is right there kind of guiding them, pushing them, challenging them, correcting them if their form needs correction. And then at the end, everybody ends with a big finish. And so it's something that's going to kind of push you past that extra rep. Or maybe your athlete is in season and they need some more recovery at the end. And so it'll be a customized kind of recovery routine. But that's essentially the session for the athlete. For the adult, the only difference is that huddle in the beginning, it's not necessarily a motivational message, although there is usually something encouraging there. The adults, we found, they really want to connect with each other, right? So like we'll ask a question, get the group to connect, again, build community, build relationship, and then get into that warm up, that workout, and the big finish.
Nice.
Yep.
Then tell me, I mean, obviously we're not giving away all the gems and the jewels here, but you mentioned that after, at least it's definitely for the athletes too, that like once they get through that initial warm up, then they kind of pick up their own their program. The coach is sort of monitoring them and all of that. How does that work essentially? I mean, you did mention that I think when they started, they have a questionnaire that they fill out, or maybe just walk me through, I guess, maybe that onboarding, like what that process looks like, and then what that plan then looks like.
Yep. So everyone starts out with a one-on-one evaluation. And again, it looks a little different for athletes versus adults, but essentially it's to help the athlete or the adult get comfortable, get confident, and get clear about where they're headed, why they want what they want, their goal. What's your why is a big tagline for us, and then build a plan to get it. And so in that session, that one-on-one, we're also going to assess how's your squat form, how's your core strength, how's your speed and agility. If it's an adult, maybe we're not doing speed and agility, but some version of that, because that's important for adults too. And so, yeah, we gather a lot of information in that assessment, and then we craft a plan based on that assessment. 75 to 80% of what everyone needs is very similar. You know, if you're someone who wants to lose weight and build lean muscle, like, you know, your workout selection doesn't need to be completely unique necessarily, but there are little things that you might have. Like, let's say you get lower back pain in the morning, and we might need to emphasize a different type of a core exercise for you than somebody else, right? So yeah, that's
and the load, obviously that's easy to just, you can kind of take this same plan and just the loading will just look a little different.
Yeah. Well, you know, since you have a lot of moms that listen to this, what we found, man, all these moms that come into PFP, all of them across all locations, they all want to be able to do a chin up. So it's like, that's the goal. All these moms, we're like going to push them and keep helping them until they get their chin up.
I've actually asked my trainer about that. I was like, should we be doing this more? But for a while, like a chin up or a pull up or something like that. I mean, don't ask me to do one. I would probably cry.
The first one's the hardest.
Yeah.
Once you get one, then you'll be able to do 5 before the end of the next 2 months.
Actually, wait, I feel like I've heard that too. It's like once you do that.
Yeah.
And then questions. So two questions. The initial assessment, is that like a verbal, kind of like a verbal with the questionnaire, or are you doing any physical assessments?
Yeah, so to give you like the exact script for the one-on-one 1 hour evaluation consultation, the first 5 to 7 minutes is get to know you, connect, learn about you, what are your likes, what are your dislikes. For an athlete, it's like, you like video games? Cool, let's talk about the video games you like. Yeah. Build a bridge of trust. Yeah. And then we give them that questionnaire that they fill out, and so they select. Yeah, they self-identify with those areas. That's about 5 minutes. Then we teach them something called the bounce back routine. It's a way to bounce back from mistakes quickly. So it's a sports psychology technique we teach every athlete. And then we get them out on the workout floor and do an injury prevention screening, speed and agility testing, strength testing, kind of get the baseline numbers for where they're at today. And then if there's time, we usually take them through like an actual kind of metabolic workout so you leave. Everyone wants to leave their first session feeling like they accomplished something. So yeah, and that's for both athletes and adults.
No, thank you and again, I mean, obviously this helps me to understand it, but I want anybody else that's like listening and to, if they take anything away from this, they can know what to expect, what it's like. Because again, it's not just like, hey, I'm going to go online, sign up, and just walk in, right? This is, and even knowing the depth in which you go in this initial assessment, like, I love that you mentioned, I mean, it doesn't take much for me to build trust with someone like me, but my child will definitely need a lot more of that. You know what I mean? To build trust with another, adult mentee, you know what I mean? So I think those are really core elements of that. And I'm kind of loving that. And then again, from the adult, I'm actually loving that you're also taking the time to do the physical assessments, because I would want to know that my program is obviously tailored to me, but that you are kind of assessing really who I am and factoring that in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for that program specific, whether it's the athlete or the adult, is that plan just kind of like, do those exercises look the same each week, each month? Do you kind of operate on like a 8-12 week sort of model that kind of grows and builds, or I'm just curious what that ends up looking like?
Yeah, I mean, progression is the goal. So every time you get a new program, we're going to make it a little bit different, more challenging, so you keep making progress. But every 4 weeks, your program changes.
Oh, that's the part I was curious about. Yeah. You don't need to give away the whole thing. I was just kind of like, are they just doing the same? Obviously, for progression, sure. And there's so many, there's so many different ways to progress, not always just increasing weight. Sometimes it's the form in which, or the mode in which how you're doing it. I mean, my trainers get on me all the time. Like, I'll give you one example. Like, I hate hamstrings. Anything. Ironically, I'm definitely like a lower body strength gal. And I say all my weight or all my strength is in my legs. But anyways, my trainer will always make me do like the one-legged bridges and things like that. And he's like, you can do a 2-leg, but he's like, I'm gonna make sure you have to do it 1-legged. And I was like, oh, I don't want to. Yeah. Anyways, progression, definitely different ways, but that's cool. So, if you, again, whether you're an adult or an athlete, a progression, I think, in my brain is assumed because it's just naturally going to happen, but knowing that, your plan is still kind of always adjusting on that monthly kind of basis, which that's pretty cool to know too.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Yeah. And so a lot of moms see their kids freeze up. Well, and I feel like a lot of us, whether it's, on the field or at home, right, get discouraged, or see their kids get discouraged or want to quit when things get hard. from your perspective, what's the most effective way a mom or parent can help their child navigate these moments without piling on extra pressure?
Yeah, I mean, asking questions is really important. So that's broad, and we could spend a lot of time on that, and I could talk about that forever.
Right.
But asking questions, using the right phrases that don't add pressure. Like the best phrase I ever tell sports parents to tell their kid is, "I really love watching you play." Right? Like I really love watching you play. Instead of like, "Hey, what happened in the game today? Hey, why didn't you do this? Hey, it looks like you forgot to do this." When we give reminders or post-game critiques, it definitely does add to the pressure, because for most kids, the person that they want to make the most proud in their life, I could just ask you the question, right? Growing up, who did you want to make the most proud in your life? It's
Exactly.
parents and coaches, right? Parents and coaches.
Yes.
And so this applies to coaches too. Yeah, so like it's like at the end of a game, if you just adopt that one thing from this podcast, is like, "I really love watching you play." It's like that's all your kid needs to hear, right? But the deeper, longer answer, oh, I won't give the long answer, but the deeper part of it is the meaning that we attach to an experience we have. We have an experience in sports, we mess up or we have a bad game, and then the meaning that our brain assigns to that experience is the very next thing that happens. And oftentimes kids, even adults, we don't know that we could change the meaning. And if you change the meaning, it changes everything, right? Like, does this mean that it's over for me and that I'm never going to live up to the expectations people have for me? Or does this mean that I'm learning and growing and I'm going to bounce back and I'm going to become better and stronger because of this? Like, meaning is everything. We really try to be meaning makers as coaches and help people change the meanings by asking them questions like, "Okay, like you're discouraged about that experience and you feel like a loser, but what else could this mean?"
Right.
You have someone in your life that asks you a question that makes you stop and like rethink things. And I mean, that's powerful. So that's what our coaches try to do, especially with these athletes, because you're right, like failures, setbacks,
Yeah.
tough losses, mistakes, they could really like shape a kid, especially if they feel a deep sense of embarrassment afterwards. Or yeah, we could go on and on and on about
I know, it's the whole
honestly,
thing.
and this is not even a sales pitch, but I've got a lot of books for that, so you can like share those.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, we will make sure we have a show notes recap. We will make sure to link all of those in there for you to take a look at, because I know you've got a lot of extensive material that I think I myself want to get, just to have it for myself, but also for my kids too.
Definitely.
One kind of last question that kind of also goes along with the last one I just said there, but what is one thing that you wish parents either said or did more of? If there was like, other than, I do love what you just said, like, I love watching you play, but what if they're just, what's one thing you're like, gosh, I just wish this happened more at home, or parents did more of blank?
I'll give two quick ones. The first one comes from a meeting that I was just having with my team. I think parents, I'm in this right now, so I get how easy it is. Like, it's so easy for parents to lose control of their kid's schedule and just like look up and say, like, my kid has no free time. They're so booked to the nines with all these club teams and practices and skills coaches and all these things. And like, just remember that, like, you can change that. Like, you can.
If we can change that.
It depends on how old your kid is, I guess. But yeah, you could change that. And so along with that is, I wish more parents spent more time really thinking about what they value most as a family and what they value most for their kids. And then do two things. Number one, make sure schedules and what you spend money on and what you pay attention to the most and what you give the most energy to, make sure that it lines up with what you value most. And then the second thing, and this is super practical for parents, the questions that we ask teach our kids what we do value the most. And so the perfect example is, think about, like, what is the most important thing you want your kid to get out of sports? Just like, think about, what is that for you? Is it that they have fun? Okay, if that is the most important thing that you want your kid to get out of sports, what do you think the question that you should ask your kid is after a game or after a practice? If that's what you value most,
right,
you should ask the question, did you have fun? If you want them to learn from sports, and learning and growing is the most important thing, the question you should start asking is, what did you learn today? Right?
Like my mind is blown right now.
I'm telling you, but the question that we always ask, and we don't even think about it, is
No, right.
how did you do today? Or how was the game today? And it implies that performance and results are what matter most. And no wonder why our kids start striving or get more stressed when they aren't achieving it. So I've talked with way too many parents to know like that most parents, they're not intentionally putting pressure on their kids. They're
No, of course
not
not.
intentionally. But this is something to be intentional about, because the questions that we ask always point towards what we value most. So hopefully that's helpful.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, that one line could be its own podcast. And I feel like I'm going to send this to my husband and be like, we need to rethink our whole parenting strategy, because it applies to everything. But, and that's why I asked that question, because again, I think, again, being kind of millennial parents, right? And I'm also the kid. I mean, it's funny. In a way, I do feel like I had more time as a kid, but I'm one of 5. And I also think that my schedule was clocked, but I had 4 brothers and sisters. So my mom was like, y'all are getting out the house and y'all are doing everything. But interestingly enough for me is I was like, okay, I don't want our kids to do everything. I want us to have a little bit of breathing room. That will ramp up and change as they get older. But
for sure.
Anyways, we could probably sit here talking for a whole nother 2 more hours, but Andrew, thank you so much for your time. I feel like we just scraped the surface of the amazing power that you guys are doing here in Columbia with your business, with your team, and frankly, these athletes. I mean, that just makes my heart literally sing to know that these are the kinds of messages that we are valuing to push for our children, because these are the mindsets that we want them to carry, not just in sports, but for life. And I do believe that it starts there. So how can parents get involved? How can they get started? Obviously the fall season is upon us, but how can they get linked to move forward?
Yeah, so pfpfit.com is our website, pfpfit.com. We're all over social media, so players, fitness, and performance. We've got a different Instagram for each location, so pfp_Columbia. You can look at that. And then to learn more about like the mindset stuff, you go to andrewjsimpson.com for that.
Oh, excellent. And we will link both of those on our show notes page, where you can get all of the recap details from this podcast. Obviously going to PFP, and like I said, your mindset books and all those pieces. And then obviously going to PFP is where you can, I would assume, to schedule that initial consult and everything like that.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Andrew. I'm now going to have to come out and check out a class and visit the Columbia location, because this has me all kinds of jazzed up.
Hey, that'd be fun.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talk Maryland. If you loved it, leave a review, share it with a friend, or tag me at the.columbiamom on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep supporting local, and keep being the incredible mom, woman, human that you are.